The new Steam hardware might be getting closer. Steam is about to get a feature PC gamers have wanted for years, and there's a new Steam Deck update that I personally needed. Let's talk about all three. Alright, hi everyone, welcome back to Steam Flow, the channel all about Steam, Steam Deck, Steam hardware and handheld gaming. A new Steam Deck beta client update dropped on April 2nd, and I want to lead with the feature that personally made me the happiest, because this one is going to save me a lot of headaches. Remote downloads management is now in the beta. What that means is you can manage downloads happening on your Steam Deck from another computer. So if you're sitting at your PC and you remember you forgot to start a download on the Steam Deck, you can now just handle it from there without getting up. And for me this is huge because I'm almost always downloading something on the Steam Deck while I'm working, and having to go back and forth just to check on it or start a new download, it kind of gets old very fast. Does anybody else have this problem, or maybe it's just me? Now there is one thing to keep in mind with this feature: both the Steam Deck and the remote client need to be on the updated beta for this to work, and the Steam Deck needs to be turned on for this to work, obviously. And on the deck you can go to system settings and you can make sure your update channel is set to beta or preview, and you're pretty much good to go with this update. Now beyond that, the app details page now shows the same options and statuses for remote clients as it does locally, which makes the whole experience feel a lot more consistent. And they've also made a few tweaks to the new store homepage that came in the last beta. It's smoother carousel transitions in featured and recommended, more capsules per page in the carousels, and the recently updated section now links you directly to the game's announcement when you tap on it, which is actually a nice quality of life touch. And I think this is another right step at making the store experience feel better on the Steam Deck. There's also been a fix for radio menu sometimes getting stuck on the screen after you release the joystick. That's a small fix, but if you've ever had a radio menu just hang there on screen like it forgot what it was doing, you know how annoying that is. So it's good that this is now finally fixed. Overall, this is a pretty solid update. It's still in beta, so we're probably gonna get this packed with a bigger update sometimes later this month. I think the remote downloads feature alone makes it worth jumping on the beta if you weren't already, but do keep in mind that with these updates some of your Decky plugins might break, so that's a caution I always try to advise. Okay, on to the next piece of news. Back in mid-February, when Valve introduced the ability to opt in and share your FPS data anonymously, I said they were probably going to use that data for something on the store side, like a display that says if this game will run on your hardware, and we're pretty much here. There's been some code spotted in the latest Steam client by a user on Reset Era forums, and that code contains a line that reads something along the lines of select an app and a PC config to get a chart of estimated frame rates based on the frame rates of other users. And that's a store feature in progress right there. So here's what this could actually look like in practice. You go to a game store page, you input your CPU, GPU and RAM, for example, and Steam shows you an estimated frame rate based on real data from other players running the same or similar hardware. So not the developer's recommended specs, which we all know are often either too optimistic or they were written 2 years before launch. These are actual numbers from actual people. And this is genuinely one of the most useful things Steam could add. How many times have you looked at the system requirements for a game and had no real idea what performance to expect? The requirements either say your GPU is recommended, but recommended for what? 1080p, 60 FPS, medium settings? It's vague by design, and it's been a problem forever. Now, the verified program on Steam Deck is a good start, but it's a broad label. A game being verified doesn't tell you if it runs at 40, 30, 25 or 60 FPS. We've all seen verified games that shouldn't really be verified. And it doesn't say whether you need to drop settings to get there. And I think this will fill that gap with actual real information. Now, it's not confirmed yet, and it's unclear whether this will come to the Windows version of Steam or stay within the SteamOS ecosystem for now. But given that Valve has already been prompting Steam Deck users and SteamOS users to opt into this anonymous FPS tracking, I think the groundwork is clearly there. And if this rolls out the way the code suggests, it could change how you shop for games, not just on the Deck, but on PC too. Now, would you use this feature before buying a game? I know I would. Real quick before we continue on to the last topic, if you're enjoying this, hit the like button, it generally helps the channel more than you think, and subscribe if you haven't already. If you're into this stuff, I cover Steam, Steam Deck, Steam hardware. I do news, performance breakdowns, game benchmarks pretty regularly, so if that's your cup of tea, consider subscribing. Okay, so this topic is part news, part speculation, and I'll be very clear about which is which, but hear me out because the timing of everything is pretty interesting. Now, the news first. Valve has added a new user experience strings to the Steam client for setting up the upcoming Steam controller and its puck for the first time. What that means in plain terms is that when you turn on the controller for the first time, Steam will detect it, it will tell you it needs an update, a firmware update, and it will walk you through connecting the puck via USB-C to your PC alongside the controller to update both at the same time. This is the kind of onboarding flow you build when a product is getting close to release and not when it's months away. And last month, Valve reaffirmed that the Steam controller, the Steam machine, and the Steam frame are still on track for 2026. And this new code doesn't confirm a date, but it does suggest that at least the controller side of things is progressing and is getting closer. Now, whether the Steam machine and Steam frame are equally far along, we just don't know yet. Now, here's where I want to speculate a little, and do take this with a big grain of salt. Now, Steam runs events pretty much every week. This Thursday we're getting the Hidden Object Fest from the 9th of April till the 13th, and after that it's the Medieval Fest, and it's all the way on the 20th, so that's a pretty big gap between the 13th and the 20th with no events scheduled in between. Steam usually fills those gaps, and with hardware that's being teased for months, a gap like that feels like it could be where Valve slots an announcement or even a pre-order window. Now, is that going to happen? I genuinely don't know. It might be nothing. The gap might get filled with an event we haven't heard about yet, but if I had to guess when Valve would make a hardware move, a quiet week between two already announced events feels like exactly the kind of low-key moment they would choose. Valve doesn't do big stage announcements, they just drop things and you get from there. So, are you guys excited for the new Steam hardware, and do you think we're getting an announcement before the end of April? Let me know in the comments. Alright, that's pretty much everything for today. Remote downloads on deck, crowdsourced FPS data coming to the store, and Valve's new hardware inching closer to reality. It's a good week to be a Steam user, and if you found this video useful, leave a like, and if you disliked it, let me know what I can improve. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.